Hello, my name is Angela Bonten. I'm an artist, or like I prefer to call myself a creative spirit with a voice to speak. I work in a variety of mediums, mixed media. I use anything that I can to make a mark. And when I'm making a mark, I would say I use paint, I use recycled materials, I use pencil, crayon, anything that I can find to express myself. I use a variety of subject matters. I can jump around quite easily from being figurative to being a landscape to being very abstract or even making a social statement with my art. I don't define myself in any way, and I don't think people should define their creativity. Creativity is in all of us. We have a voice, we have a way to express ourselves, and that is individual to each person. You just have to find the right medium to tell your story. And yes, we all have a story to tell, we have a point to make, and we can do it quite freely. We just have to find the tools to do that. What I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about my process and how I come to express myself and what triggers things in my mind, and specifically regarding to recycling and to using found objects and making a statement. So I brought along some work today here for you to view and that I'm going to talk about. I work in series, and one of the series was about back alleys, which is the one, the very bright orange one here to my over to my right over here, which has in it some onion bags, it has some found materials, and it's all about the graffiti of the back alleys. Okay? Then I sort of moved on using that as well to different pieces where I started looking and thinking about recycling things, specifically how we are a disposable society. Yeah, we just get rid of things, we buy things, and I'm going to show you this little box of goodies that I have here, right? Okay, yeah, like computer things. Oh, look at this little pink phone here. One day we get these new things, and the next day they're just tossed out. You know, got a new one, gets broken, and a lot of these pieces that I have came from a cell shop. Years ago, we had a wonderful fridge that kept working forever. Changed our decor, etc., because we were renovating, it didn't fit in, sold the fridge, went to get a new one. 2 years later, it breaks. Can't get it fixed because in it, right, is a part that nobody can get at, so now it's totally obsolete, that goes to the dump. So thinking about this, I started this painting here, and I actually brought in somebody to help me with it, Tony Conan, my partner, who also has all the technical skills to help me with the things that I can't do. And in here, I had the picture of the Volkswagen, I added to it, and I added the cell pieces in here, which have got lovely little patterns, and all those parts from the cell phones are here. And then, being British, I was thinking here, as I did this, about the smokestacks of my childhood growing up and how it spewed out into the atmosphere. So I was adding this and adding the Volkswagen and adding this, and then began thinking about the road that we are on. And Tony had the plastic, and he added the plastic, bent it for me, put here, and we poured concrete into this. And then took the cell phones and embedded them in to the piece itself. I'm intuitive as I work. I work out the problems as I go and through the process. I call this piece, Time Holds the Yesterdays of Today. Because what we put into the landfill is going to show up years from now. They're going to have a field day with this, archaeologists, in 50,000 years, right? If the internet blows up and they don't know what this is, probably think it's a little cell phone, is some adornment, personal adornment. And I also added the cell phones here to a painting here called The Reigns of Change. Because we are in change. We have to have a process of change. So when I'm working here, this is a part that piece I'm working on, and I have a piece here which is going to be added to it. And it's a little heart. Cut the motherboard of a computer into a heart, because that's the soul of our community. So I want to say to you, whatever you're doing in your art, your voice is important. Your personal expression is important. You have to ask yourself, what am I going to do socially? What statement am I trying to say? Am I talking about climate change? Am I talking about gender equality? Am I talking about education? Whatever it is you're talking about and what your voice is, you start off just doing it. You don't worry how it's going to turn out. Work with the process. If you're not sure how to put it together, bring in somebody who does. Go on the internet, find how can I make this piece? Big piece, large piece, sculptural piece. But you just have fun doing it and go out there and create it and get help from people if you can't find out how to put it together. Thank you for listening to me. Go out there, be creative and be expressive and find your inner artist.
How old were you when you started doing your art?
I started being creative, I think, when I was about 2 or 3. My very creative family, and they always had things around, so I was probably drawing up and down the walls.
What is the best thing about what you do?
The best thing what I do is I'm able to view my world with my eyes and put it down through my art, how I vision this world.
Who inspires you?
There are so many people who inspire me, and artistically, even in Kelowna, in my local neighborhood, there are so many people I'm continually inspired by. But if I was to say a famous artist, I would say I'm inspired by Picasso. Because Picasso, because he was brilliant from very early on, he never stopped experimenting, exploring, and finding new ways to express himself without fear.
If you could wave a magic wand, what is the one thing you would do to make the world a better place?
If I could wave a magic wand, I would eliminate poverty and world hunger. I'd make everybody have enough food. Because if you're spending your time looking for food, you can't do anything else, because poverty is the root. You need to eat to survive.
If you could go back in time, what would you tell your childhood self about your art?
Oh, I would tell myself not to be critical of myself. I would take that inner critique very young, throw it out the door, and just keep being playful, exploring, and enjoying my art. And I would stop critiquing anything that I did.